Yo, gang. So today I'm joined by none other than Luke Richardson, former Europe's strongest man. And we're going to talk about the Arnold Classic. You've got my Arnold Classic t shirt on. Oh, no, wrong one. What's
Can I
up?
say first and foremost that this has been 3 days in the making, and I have saved it myself with no involvement from Pa. So the fact that he's making any money or has any content for all of you is all because of me. So I'm taking all the credit. You may proceed.
I'd like to thank Luke for doing this for me. It's why is everything so awkward?
I don't know. I think, do you know what it is? You just like filming with all these loops that just basically put your videos together and just do them for you. So
God, everything is so awkward. Why don't they just make Zoom and click to record, click to press play, click to stop? They have all these buttons everywhere, and I don't understand in it why is everything so complicated?
this is why top level elite strongmen have to employ smart younger people to make the money because they can't click a few buttons in a sequence. But anyway, listen, you said we've got the Arnold Classic coming up. I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm sure you've written a full notepad on how you want to construct this video. So you may proceed with that. How do you want to go about doing this?
So what I'm gonna do is just to remind me up a bit. So I'm gonna this is a prediction video of the Arnold Classic and how we think it will go. I'd like to wish all the competitors uh, an injury-free competition because this would be a bad time to be getting injured. With World's Strongest Man is 7 weeks away, I think, or 8 weeks away, maybe. We have the competitors. Tom Evans. I don't know much about Tom Evans, so
Did
like
Tom won the Shaw Classic Amateur as well, didn't he?
he's won a couple of yeah,
Obviously,
like
he's in the Arnolds this year because he won the Arnold Amateur last year, obviously. But yeah, I don't know much about him either. I followed him on Insta the other day, but that's it.
he's delighted with that. Yeah, if he's winning the Brian Shaw Amateur and the Arnold Classic Amateur, he is a fair contender to be honest, because like some of the best athletes in the world have come through that, like Mateusz Kielakowski and that.
Novi as well, didn't he? Novi came for Arnold's as well.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So then we have Kevin Fairs, Mitchell Hooper, Rob Kearney, Mateusz Kielakowski. Welcome back to Mateusz. Trey Mitchell, your old buddy Pavlo Nakonechny, I think.
Why?
Luke and Tom Stoltman and Bobby Thompson. And the events are the week in. We'll just run through these events and see who we think is going to win these, because that'll be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, do you want to do a top three for each event and then a top three overall at the end?
So we'll have. I think Tom won that at World's Strongest Man by like 12 seconds, beating everyone else.
Yeah, like 2021 Worlds, wasn't it? It was the first year he won Worlds. It was a similar stat with that train push, wasn't it? He was an absolute friggin' animal on that. Like Mateus, I think, will be very, very good at this as well. Obviously, he was the best truck puller in the world, wasn't he? And I think one thing with Mateus as well that I really enjoy watching about all his training, which probably covers quite a few of these events, is that some people, it's quite easy to be like, oh, I've got the Wheel of Pain coming up, and they'll push like a small car, or he'll literally drive his truck to a hill, fill it with cement and gravel, and then push that so it's heavier. He what do you call it? He like periodizes his truck pulling by like loading it up with like tons of gravel. He's like, oh, it's 20 tons today, it's 40 tons tomorrow. Like, so I think Mateus will be really well prepared for that as well. I'd imagine Mitch to do well on it. I think Pavlo could be very good at that as well if he gets it right. Just be if he gets it right, and then Luke as well, of course, and all the other guys with just strong legs. So
That's what it's going to. What was Pavlo like as a squatter when he was powerlifting?
to be honest, I think, and this isn't to slag him by any means, it would be more views for your channel. I think Pavlo's problem was kind of the same, like he kind of has in strongman, which was like he has an abundance of like strength potential and talent, obviously. But like in training, he'd like squat high and things like that. So I think Pavlo's legs are very, very strong. He was still like near a 400 kilo raw squatter in powerlifting. And I think he squatted 440 in wraps actually as well. So his legs are strong as shit, but I just think, yeah, powerlifting probably wasn't his best representation of his leg strength. I actually think that something like this suits him better because it's like more unilateral strength. It's like side to side strength, and he's in isolation. He is so strong. Like any exercise in isolation, he's a monster. So
It's like when he gets to train something, he literally destroys it. Remember his stones in Cardiff? He did the 5 stones in 16 seconds, I think.
yeah, it's ridiculous. But this is what I mean. Like, well, then he went to Rogue, and obviously the stones offered a bit of a different challenge, and he was lifting them stones in a way that if it was anyone else in strongman on earth, bar maybe Tom Stoltman, both their biceps would have tore about 4 million times. But like he's just so strong in isolation that he can kind of, and it's to his credit, like it's not by accident, but like yeah, just frigging eyes a monster. Like, so do you want to do your top 3 for that, and then I'll do mine? Or
I'm gonna say, so the answer to my question is Pavlo has strong legs.
yes.
I'm gonna go. I am going to go. Tom Stoltman, obviously. I'm then gonna go with Luke Stoltman.
Right. Okay.
Tom got good at that by training, obviously. Luke is training with Tom, and Luke has really strong legs. I just think he doesn't know his potential with his leg strength. He's got those big old chunky thighs. So I'm going to go Tom, Luke, and then Pavlo, because Pavlo is just a beast.
Right. Okay. I am going to pick probably a different top 3. Now, mine would be on the basis that if I felt like Tom had as many weeks training as he'd have liked as he did running into 2021 World's Strongest Man, I think he'd have probably won this event, to be honest. But you've got him down winning it anyway, so that's cool. I don't think he's going to be bad at it by any means. I'd probably put Mateus first on this one. I think Mitch will also be very good at this, and I think third could be between quite a few people. I think third could be between like Tom, Pavlo. I don't think I've ever seen Trey Mitchell do this.
I was just going to say, if I was given another choice, I would have put Trey Mitchell in.
Yeah, but I don't think, don't get me wrong, I think Trey's one of them guys who'll train this very seriously as well. But I think if I'm going to pick a solid top 3, I will go Mateus, Mitch, and Tom.
Mateus, Mitch, and Tom. Okay. Okay, so the next event is the Austrian Oak log press. I was talking to Luke about this, about breaking the record, and that he can't break the record because they're after making the heavier one lighter. So
yeah, Z did 4 on 205, didn't he? It's 195.
Records. I don't know why they did that. That's a bit shit, to be honest, in my opinion. They should have left it at 205. Left the lighter one the same way. The lighter one is 175. So my 3 for this. By the way, did you see Hooper's 195? No belts, no sleep.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be his deload week as well, but obviously man don't need deloads. So
Calling bullshit in that. So for log press, I'm gonna go Luke Stoltman. This is a hard one because there's so many good log presses here. I'm gonna go Trey Mitchell then. And then I am going to go with Bobby. Bobby's log has been going really well.
Yeah. I think my top 3 doesn't deviate much further from yours. I think the only difference is, do you know, with this being like a 195 log for reps, I think there'll be a lot of split points on this. So like I think the top three could end up being like a top five with a lot of split points because obviously if you do like one more rep than another guy on 195, it probably adds like 10 kilos to your estimated log one RM, doesn't it? Like so
Only
so the difference between a guy who can log press like 195 for 3 reps and his max is probably like 220 plus, but a guy who can do 195 for 2 reps probably could log like a 210, a 215. So I just think on this, if we're going to go for like clear winners without considering any split points, which will be difficult because I think that the winner will have to get 2 or 3. And I think quite a few guys will tie on 1, perhaps. I think I'm going to go with Luke winning it because his log looks in shape, and Luke always seems to really perform his best on log in competition as well, which I think is worth mentioning. He doesn't really lose logs in comp. I think Bobby and Trey, I don't know because Bobby looks so strong as well.
have this, like the last couple of times he's gone heavy in logging training, he's hurt himself. So obviously, I hope he doesn't hurt himself. Like, but he does have a tendency to blow out his hole a small bit.
I'm gonna go. If we have to pick a top three without splitting points, I'm gonna go Luke first, Trey second, Bobby third. Have you just farted?
No, no.
All right, but I think that I think Tom could get in on that with a rep on that 195. Like I said, I think there'll be a lot of split points. I think Tom could get in on that. I think Mitch will get in on that. I think Mateus will get in on it. I think there'll be quite a lot of guys who do the 195, to be honest. So I think, yeah, there'll just be a lot of split points there, but I think they're the main 3 to watch for on that to like do something massive, basically.
Okay, so moving on, the elephant bar deadlift. I actually can't wait for this event, obviously because Pablo's doing it.
Yeah.
There's just never been a deadlifter like him, has there? I think he can genuinely go for this 505 time.
Yeah, I think Pablo, in my opinion, is like the only candidate for like a 505 in the near future, to be honest.
Yeah.
By near future, I mean like kind of the next few years, like the next year or so.
I wouldn't rule Tom Stoutman out of that.
No, I mean to be honest, like you can't rule Tom out of it. I think Tom's kind of acquired that kind of Eddie-esque level of like, you know, he's a 2-time world strongest man. He's a monster. So if he says he's going to do something, it's quite hard to bet against him. However, like if you actually go by like competition standards, like
Deadlift.
yeah, I think the last time Tom did a max deadlift was at like Scotland's Strongest Man. I think he pulled like 440 raw. I know he lifts in a suit now, but again, even if you pitched like 2022, Tom in the final came like third on the deadlift behind Novi and Mitch, didn't he? I know it was a car deadlift. I think Tom could definitely pull like 450, 460 now if he's in shape. But I think that's still quite a way away from like 505.
It is, yeah.
Um,
but our top 3 for this elephant bar deadlift is obviously I'm going to go for Pablo first. Do you know whose deadlift is going really well is Bobby Thompson's as well, actually.
Yeah, Bobby's deadlift's very good, isn't it?
Yeah. 420, he's repping 420 in the gym.
Yeah.
So I can put Bobby there. And oh god, it's hard actually. Because you got Trey as well, who's pulling really well, and Mitchell
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Pablo, Bobby, Hooper.
Right, okay. I'm gonna go Pavlo. And then I don't know. I think similar to you, it's kind of a toss-up, I think, between Bobby, Mitch, and Trey.
Do you know who could put decent as well is Rob Kearney.
Yeah, Rob pulled like a 415 or something, didn't he? It looked pretty good. Rob's really good at like hitching and stuff as well, isn't he? So I think he can always get more out of it. But I think if I'm going to pick a top 3, I'll go Pablo, I'll go Mitch and then Bobby.
Oh, you just did my 2 and 3 the other way around, okay?
Yeah.
I also wouldn't be surprised, even though I didn't put him in my top 3, if Trey Mitchell won the event. Not won it, but came second. I don't think there's anyone on Pavlo's level of deadlift at the minute.
No. I think it'll be interesting to see what he does because he's a bit of a mad cunt. I think if he decides that like pulling, because I think Pavlo will be able to win the deadlift with like a 450, to be honest. So I think if he picks like a 450 second attempt, will he just go for like 475 to beat Four's 474 just because he can?
Yeah, there's a record on the line. Yeah, he could do actually. It'd be mad though, wouldn't it, if you've intention to win the competition to lower your load on a deadlift. Okay, yeah. It's in my opinion, a bit of a stupid event, but anyway, it's there. The unspunnen stone throw, they call it.
The Paro Dwyer stone throw.
Dwyer stone throw.
How to trigger a full community in one video.
And from Scotland.
You're sat there like, sure, that's dead. It's dead. Don't bring it back
up. This literally could be anyone. Do you know who could do this? Because his leader is Tom Stoltman.
Yeah, I think this is a really weird one, to be honest. Do you know who I think will do incredibly well at this? I think Mateus will.
Oh yeah.
Because Mateus will legit, again, it's just, I love his attitude. It's great. Like, he'll go in the woods, find a rock, weigh it, and just be like, yes. and then train it like every day. Like, I think something like this, don't get me wrong, how much can you improve on like a basically 100-kilo stone throw? I'm not sure. I think height and things will come into this. Obviously, it just gives it more trajectory to go longer because it just has longer to fall as well. So I think that benefits Tom as well.
No, we did this when I was in Scotland because it was a part of the Brycey Games, they were called. Colin Bryce was gifted a stone. It was 100 kilos. So we just see who could throw it the farthest. And me, Andy Black, and Eddie Williams. And like Eddie Williams is obviously 6'5", and he's 180 or 90 kilos.
And big old boy.
Black is 6'6" and is like 300 kilos. And you'd imagine they would beat me, right? They got massive. They got the height, the arm span, and the body weight. But I beat the two of them at it.
But this is the interesting thing as well. Is another reason why I think Mitch and Mateus will do really well at it.
Explosiveness is the key, I think.
Yeah, I think like because they've got that like crazy level of athleticism. Like 100 kilos isn't that heavy, so I don't know if you can like jump over the line or if you have to stop behind the line. But I think, I just think
we weren't. The rule we was you weren't allowed to break the line like it is in any sport.
Right.
Like in Scotland, it's the same. If you break the line, your throw is disallowed.
Right. Okay.
So I imagine they'll stick to that rule of not being allowed to break the line or your throw is. I'm just going to go Tom, Mateus. Do you know what? Mitchell Hooper will probably fucking land this into the audience as well because he's really good at these random events, isn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say another person who I think is quite good at like doing things on the fly is Luke as well. I'd expect Luke to be pretty good at this. I think the only thing that lends itself quite well to like the Mitch Hoopers and the Mateuses is the fact that like say they're just so athletic. Like they'll be able to run fast with the stone. They'll have a lot of awareness of where the stone is in relation to their body. I think it's just going to be a weird one. What's your top three?
You know, when we were throwing it, actually, I see a lot of the lads have it overhead like this and are just running and throwing it. But I found when I ran, I was able to get my body weight, my shoulder, and my two arms, obviously, and I was part that way. I didn't see anyone training that way. No, I haven't seen many people train it anyway, but the ones I did see was overhead and just. Yeah. No, I don't know. My top three are going to be. I'm going to go Tom, Mateus, and I'll go Mitchell Hooper.
Right, my top three is going to be Mateus, Mitch, and Pavlo. but maybe Luke. I think Luke could get in there as well. I think Luke will be surprisingly good at this
Yeah.
because he'll give it the good old frigging big shoulder press as well.
Because his shoulder press is so ridiculous that he could launch and win it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just one of those events where
Yeah,
like
it's very weird.
Tom Evans could go and win it. You know, it's just someone outside there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't particularly like it, to be honest, but obviously it's just one of them things in it where I think everyone who's trained it seriously will have a little bit of a benefit. And I think the reason I've got Mateus winning it is just because he's dragging rocks out of the woods and launching them like every frigging day, probably.
The last event is the timber frame carry. Obviously, I think Mateus is going to win that.
Yeah.
Mitchell Hooper will be up his hole because Mitchell can move.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go with Kevin Fairs.
Yeah. Solid like. Yeah, I think that solid like the forearms. I think that I agree with Mateus and Mitch. I think Mateus will win purely on the basis that like I've seen him again. He like forklifts his 400-kilo frame to like the nearest hill and like does like the frame up the hill like he's just a maniac. I think Mateus will win because that run that he did against Four in like 2019 or whatever was absolutely crazy. Like that was insane.
Gary switched on that like monster mode, didn't he?
Yeah, I think Mitch will come second because he's just rapid as well, isn't he? Like so fast. It'll be interesting to see. I don't imagine Mitch has a bad grip at all. I've seen him do like 190, 200 kilo farmers for like short distances. So
plus he won the stone carry at the Arnold Classic in the UK.
Yeah, but that's I think don't wrong, I agree. But that's more like hook grippy. It's not as like top end grip strength, is it? Like a 400-kilo frame, like with no straps. But I don't think he'll have any problems anyway. I think he'll probably come second. And then third, do you know what? I'd agree with. I think Kevin will be good at this purely on the basis that I think he could hold the frame for about 10 years.
Yeah, that's why.
Like he has a grip like no one I've friggin' ever seen. Like he has like vices for hands. But I actually think as well, Tom's frame at 2021 World's Strongest Man was very good. He was rapid after that loading medley. But I think that Pavlo's grip's very good. But Pavlo actually as well. Do you know when him and Evan went head to head on that loading medley in Cardiff?
Oh yeah.
Pavlo was quicker on the farmers than Evan, and Evan's a monster on farmers and yoke.
That's true, yeah.
So I think Pavlo could be a bit of a wild card for this one. I'll go Kilikowski, Mitch, Pavlo, but I also think that, like I say, I think Tom in training, Tom, they put up a 380 frame recently, didn't he?
Yeah, but you can trust his training because
yeah, but this is the thing. I actually think it lends quite well to him because he did the 380 frame, he didn't drop it, and he was moving well. But the pick on that frame that they do is like from the depths of hell, isn't it? So yeah, I think the fact that Luke's frame training's good, like Luke probably looks better on the frame than Tom in training, but I think that having the elevated height will help Tom not have to just deadlift it as far. So I actually think he'll overperform to his training. I think Luke will do very well as well. But yeah, those are my top three. Just yeah.
So that's all the events. So now we have to give our final 3 or 5. What do we do? 3 or 5?
I don't care.
Let's go 5.
I'm happy to be wrong. Just all the competitors don't hate me. I'm retired. I'm useless.
It's a lottery, though.
Yeah, it's very hard. Like it's going to be a very, very competitive comp. This, so we will most likely be wrong.
it's literally a lottery because like I can see like there's how many names? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 names, and I think 8 of those guys could win it, and you wouldn't be like, "OMG, that's such a shock."
Mm.
I'm gonna go with. God, I actually have the clue.
You wanted to do 5, you idiot. Come on.
I don't know. God, I don't know. You go first. I actually don't know.
Right, okay. Because I'm not bothered about being wrong.
Or top 3 because 5 is too hard.
Right, my top 3. I think that my 1 and 2, I'm pretty convinced they'll be 1 and 2.
Okay.
And like I say, I'm happy to be wrong. Please don't hate me. Is my opinion. I think that Mitch is going to win. I think that Matthias is going to come second. And I think third could be a toss-up between quite a few people. I think my rationale for Matthias coming second behind Mitch is just because I think Matthias will win or do really well on a lot of events, but Matthias will drop more points to Mitch on like the deadlift, for example. But I don't think Matthias, because Matthias nearly won the Arnold against 4, coming last on the deadlift in like 2019 in that era. And I think Matthias actually beats out quite a lot of guys on the deadlift this year. If he can hitch out like a really ugly like 390, 400, I think he'll beat like four or 5 guys. And then third, I think I'll put. I think I will go Trey.
So your top 3 is what did you say? Hooper,
Matthias, Trey.
yes, Trey. Okay. I'm ready.
Go.
I like you said about Matthias coming dead last in the deadlift isn't a marker of your placing, really, is it?
Mm.
So I'm gonna go with Trey Mitchell winning
Right.
because do you know what Trey has an advantage with as well? He doesn't have a bunch of travel. Travel affects
Yeah,
like Luke and Tom were in New York last night at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and like they're only in New York and they're waiting for the flight, and they were at that stage 17 hours into their journey. And
where's Ohio? Is that like Northwest America?
It's in America.
I think it's like Northwest America. So if they've flown into New York, that's like east. So they've still got like basically the whole the whole way of America to go almost to be there, I think.
Yeah, so I got like the American guys don't have that. So I Trey Mitchell, and I'm gonna bank on my boy Luke Stoltman.
Yeah.
Second. And third place, I'm gonna go with Killaskowski.
Right.
Heard it here first.
To be honest, like I say, not that I wouldn't want Mitch to win, but I'd absolutely frigging love to see Matthias win.
Yeah, it'd be nice because like I'm a massive Matthias fan. Like, do you remember even that time they had Stone to shoulder?
Yeah.
He was up against Brian Shaw and Thor Bjornsson in that event, right? Both of them got to practice on the actual stone before the competition. Matthias and a couple of other guys did. I just named them two because obviously they're two of the best strongmen on the planet. Matthias never got to go on the stone, and he just goes in and destroys everyone.
This is what I mean, though. Like he'll have dragged like the most awkward rock out of the woods, and just trained it. Like,
yeah, he's so excited. His log, like, it's good to see him back. I'm happy he's back.
Yeah, no, I think that he's probably been as unfortunate as me. So it'd be cool to see him do that. And because I think it'd be a shame for him to never claim a big title. And I know obviously the people who deserve to win won, but like I feel like he's definitely deserved of like a really, really big strongman title. I know he has loads of strongman wins, but like the Arnolds and Worlds and things like that, I think he's kind of owed one. Not owed it, but he deserves it. But yeah.
And Thor's coming back next year.
I know, yeah, that'll be interesting. Just to add into a really, really hyper competitive era already. But
days of like guys going in and winning competitions easily and being able to pick a podium easily are gone.
Yeah, no, I just don't think it. I just don't think it will happen anymore.
Even like if Thor comes back in Strongman next year, he's not walking away with anything.
No,
He just not, because he's not a good log presser as Luke. He's not a good as deadlifter as Pavlo. He's not good as stones like Tom. Moving events like Mitchell Hooper and the Super Yoke, no one's going to beat him ever again in the Super Yoke.
Yeah.
So like these guys are just impossible, close to impossible beat on events. So there's no one walking away with competition ever again.
No, I think, and like I say, I think it'll be interesting. My honourable mentions, I guess, to my podium. That I think if Tom had a few, I think if Tom had a few months of like training as he'd have probably liked. Obviously, I don't know what Tom's been up to, but obviously when he's been geared, getting ready for World's Strongest Man, you can tell he's like on, like he's switched on. He's like really training for it. I think Tom would have. I don't see how you can deny that Tom would have probably won this relatively, not comfortably, but as well. I just don't know what shape Tom's in. Luke as well. When Luke brings it, Luke's in fantastic shape. Kevin's a monster. Bobby's a monster. Like it's very difficult to pick, but yeah, I hope that they're not angry.
I'm going to ask you one more question before we finish up.
Right.
You were a powerlifter. What do you think of these sumo deadlifters using the kabuki bar to break all these deadlift records?
I think it's stupid. Obviously, I have come from the purest powerlifting background imaginable. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I get it. It's annoying, especially for like, because I can remember like when I was lifting, we lifted on the same Alico stiff bar every single lift. I wasn't squatting out of monoliths. I wasn't squatting on squat bars. I wasn't deadlifting on deadlift bars. I think the further you stray away from it being comparable to all other aspects of the sport is kind of a bad thing in powerlifting. Like strongman variety makes it fun. Variety makes it like watcher friendly. Whereas I think powerlifting's a bit more of like it's a sport. Like it's not fun to watch. I never enjoyed watching powerlifting really. I do enjoy watching myself. So yeah, I think the more diversity you have in equipment and things like that, the less it's like comparable to the eras before and the other federations and things like that. I just think it gets too like complicated. I think the more alike it is, the better in a sport like that.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. You can say what you want about strongman, but at least in strongman, when we introduced the new bar, i.e. the elephant deadlift bar, we changed it. We changed the lift. We gave it a new name, and no deadlift records were taken away. They brought in this bar into powerlifting. It's 4 or 5 inches longer. It's whippier, and they're taking records that are 30 years old, which I think is an absolute farce to powerlifting, and I can't believe that the community have let this happen.
Yeah, it's a shame because you see like Andy Bolton 1,000-pound deadlift like conventional on like on one of the like standard just normal deadlift bars and things like that. And I know progressions happen in sport. Like deadlift bars didn't used to exist, for example. But yeah, it's just one of them things. I think if you're increasing everyone's strength by just engineering equipment that makes lifts easier, it's kind of not the, I just think that it kind of is what it is. Leave it alone, almost.
Changing the lift just to get more kgs in the bar, which I think is
and I think it lends itself to like the more modern style, like sumo deadlifter as well, like the ones who have the anatomy to be like super wide stance, like really, really kind of just manipulate the bar in a way that like a conventional puller isn't going to get much more out of a kabuki deadlift bar. It'll be a bit easier, yeah, but like they're not going to get an extra 2 inch of ROM cut out by having their feet another 5 inches out and things like that. I don't know. I just don't like it. But yeah.
That's all. I said I'd get your opinion because you were one of the best powerlifters in the world. So that is all. I'd like to wish all the guys the best of luck. Peace out.
Can I do that as well?
Yeah.
Don't end up like me. See you later. Right, goodbye.